office, it has a
He's got your
professional
presentation,
executive
yeah?
director.
All right, very good. So we
I
just
think we
stuck
need
it
an
in
extra
there.
chair.
There's one right here. There's a chair right here.
Hi there.
The state of Virginia did that for the ED program, and what it really let them do is procurement was about what used to take 3-4 weeks to do something could be done in 10 days, and I don't mean working days. And we could hire and fire,
Right.
and we could do bonuses. A lot of stuff we could do that when you're out of a state system, you can just say, forget that.
But what I think that the business community, on the other hand, doesn't realize is that all of those programs that we've implemented, the local small business reserve, the minority female disabled programs, that set certain requirements for utilizing small and minority-owned firms, don't apply to the nonprofit. So you take all of that out. Now, it's not much. I mean, really, it's really not much in terms of the overall scheme of things.
Okay. Okay.
Will it just go straight to mine, or are you I don't want to touch it. I don't want to swear it. Oh, maybe we should just give you a stack of my cards. I didn't bring
Have
any.
you met a lady named Marcus Good? She's with, she's like or something there from
Got it, got it.
I could be wrong already.
All right.
Someplace in Maryland.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. I understand that we're the last panel here before you and the reception, so
You wanna move
we're
down?
already running a few minutes behind schedule, so I want to try and keep things
Did
moving
he
along.
mention Mike?
My name is Marcus Simon. I'm a member of the Virginia House of Delegates, and I represent this
He was gonna
area.
get it,
You all
yeah.
just heard from, some of you just heard from Jerry Connolly, who was here at the tail end of the last panel. He represents you all in Congress, in this area in Congress, I should say.
Maybe we should.
And this is my territory in the Virginia House of Delegates. So I'm going to moderate today's panel. I'm going to introduce our panelists in just a second. But as you heard Congressman Connolly say, Virginia takes really a great deal of pride in our business-friendly environment and in being a great place to live, work, and really to start a business. Here in Northern Virginia, we do rely a lot on that relationship with the federal government and the need of the federal government to contract out work, and so a lot of our businesses do that sort of thing. In fact, 95% of Virginia's businesses are actually considered small businesses. Now, we'll hear from some of our panelists what the definition of small is. It might be a little bigger than you think. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a 2 or 3 person operation, but it's small businesses, and also our small women and minority-owned businesses are actually have been the largest source of new jobs in Virginia over the last several years. So it is small businesses and entrepreneurs that are really generating a lot of the job growth that's going to continue to drive the Virginia economy. And so we'll hear more specifically again from some of the panelists about some of the specific programs. And if they don't get to some that I have on my list, I'll come back to that. It's the beautiful thing about being the moderator. I can always come back and fill in the gaps. So I'm going to start on my far right as far as introductions, and then we'll start with presentations, the person closest to me. So I'm going to start at the end with Les Hall. Les is a program manager at the Maryland Department of Commerce, and he's going to have an introduction for himself when he starts to speak, but just so you can sort of get an idea of who we have there. On his left is George Harbin, who is the Director of Existing Business Services for the Prince William County Department of Economic Development. Next to him is Judy Stevenson, Small Business Navigator in Montgomery County. So we notice we're doing this Maryland, Virginia, Maryland. Trying to be very fair to everybody, even though I'm a Virginia person myself. And then next to me, and between me and Judy, is Vanessa.
Josviak.
I should have asked before we started. Vanessa Josviak, and she is a small business and entrepreneurship manager for the Loudoun County Economic Development Authority. So we've got the whole region sort of covered here. And again, without further ado, as everybody comes in and gets settled, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Vanessa to start her presentation.
Great, thank you so much. By a show of hands, how many of you have visited Loudoun County recently? Be honest, how many of you went to a winery there? Right? I like to bring up the wineries or maybe our data centers, because Loudoun County, is there an echo? All right, sorry. I'll just shout. Loudoun County certainly has a lot of businesses or assets that folks outside of the county are familiar with, whether it's our data centers, the wineries. But today I want you to think of Loudoun County as a place for small business, because out of our almost 10,000 businesses licensed with the county, 3,500 of those are between 5 and 50 employees. So Loudoun County small business is an important part of our economy, but also it makes the quality of life. So I want to touch briefly on some of the assets, why businesses come to Loudoun, but also just a brief overview of some of the programs that support our small business community within the county. And my name is Vanessa Josviak. I work with the small businesses existing or potential to help them start and grow. So how many of you were raised here in Northern Virginia, lived here your whole life? What was Loudoun 20 years ago? Farmland, right? I love hearing that because today we are a growing county. I can't even imagine Loudoun being nothing but farmlands except on our beautiful, well-preserved western borders. Because here, from a numbers perspective, we're at almost 360,000 residents. And those residents in Loudoun, they're well-educated, they're career-focused, a lot of technology-focused workers, and that's a big driver to why businesses, both big and small, come to the county. But why are these residents and businesses attracted to Loudoun? A big portion of it to me is the quality of life. I know when I was visiting Loudoun 7 years ago, as originally from Buffalo, New York, I fell in love with it and I never left. Whether it is enjoying the 40+ award-winning wineries, our equestrian communities in the West, our growing number of walkable communities with a vibrant nightlife, Loudoun County does offer an outstanding quality of life where residents and people that work in the county work hard, play hard, and live well. But another big asset for our county for both big and small businesses is the connectivity. With Dulles International Airport, that's a giant asset for businesses, both in terms of connectivity as a global hub, with both domestic and international travel, but it's also located in one of the free trade zones. Additionally, believe it or not, it's finally coming. We are getting the Silver Line Metro. Extending all the way out to Ashburn, Virginia, construction has begun already. So we should complete construction by 2019 with passenger service by 2020. So that's only 5 short years away. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention our data centers. Has anybody heard about that or seen those big buildings? Now those are important. 70% of the world's internet traffic flows through Loudoun County. We have Data Center Alley in Ashburn, and what that means and why that's important to businesses is it's reliable, fast internet service. We have many small tech startups that rely on working closely in cloud computing, using those centers to store their clients' information. So that's a big driver for our small business community. Yes, they're big buildings, but they house a lot of small businesses within them. I'm gonna keep going. There we go. So from a government perspective, we're definitely very welcoming of our small business community. We've worked through things to make it very easy to start a business in the county. Has anyone ever been frustrated trying to figure out zoning or getting a sign on their building? Show of hands. There's a lot to navigate through there. So at a county government level, we've developed our business assistance team. This is a one-stop shop for anyone looking to open a business in the county where you can meet with a point of contact from each department. You can get them all together at once and go over everything you need to know from a zoning perspective, site plans, what permits you need, how much that's going to cost. But also with the BAT team, we meet monthly. Why do we do that? We want to hear what the common challenges are. If there's a form that's confusing to a lot of clients, how do we improve that so we can continue making customer service for our small business community easy and friendly? But also we do procurement opportunities with small businesses. We have monthly opportunities for businesses to come to an information session and understand the upcoming bids or current bids, what you need to submit for that. So we make working with the government officials in our county very easy. Now, when I talk about incentives, I really want to focus on the investments Loudoun County makes into its community resources. And it's a lot of our innovation-focused resources. We house 7 college campuses or universities or satellites within the county, and we partner closely with them to make sure that small businesses have access to research opportunities, grants, or working collaboratively with the universities. Interns, workforce is a big concern for a lot of small businesses. We also have great innovation hubs like our Mason Enterprise Center. Has anyone ever been in an incubator? Okay. What we strive to do is not just have cheap office space or a place that people can go and get a low-cost rent, but rather we work closely with our incubators like Mason Enterprise Center in Leesburg or Fishbowl Labs at AOL to make sure that they're offering the programming, the counseling that small businesses need. Because we don't want to just reach a handful of businesses. We want to make sure that we're reaching as many small businesses in the county as possible by supporting places like this. In addition, we do fund our SBDC. We are a big contributor to our SBDC, and that's housed there in Leesburg as well, where we have 3 active SCORE counselors that have regular office hours to consult you on anything from how to manage your books appropriately to going to market or connecting with an investor. Now, one thing I'm really proud of that I take a big part in our county is engaging programming and events. Some of our programs are focused on our tech startups, so that could be Loudoun Tech Startups that meets monthly, features a local business. So when we do events in the county, the opportunity is not just for education, but we want to make sure that we're spotlighting our small businesses, that we're putting them in front of the right people. So we have a rotation of pitch events, investor-related events, or counseling and feedback events like 1 Million Cups, or something like our Small Business Week. And actually save the date for that. Coming up, it's going to be in May, the week of May 16th, where we do a full week of programming dedicated to small businesses. Everything from matchmaking with investors and banking to we're going to have a whole day focused on international business because that's a growing segment in our economy. So we do invest a lot of time into our events and programming to build the connectivity. Some of the feedback I hear every day from our entrepreneurs is they don't necessarily want to hear from me or from an expert. They want to hear from each other. They want to meet, they want to share ideas, they want to find partners. So we at the county work with our community resources to make that as easy as possible. And we do have a lot of success stories. You know, I was thinking about picking one. It's too hard. So I encourage you all to visit our Loudoun SourceLink blog, where we take some time to feature different businesses on a monthly basis that are doing well in the community. And we're still growing. You know, last year, Loudoun closed out at $1.3 billion with a B dollars of commercial real estate investment. And that was our best year yet and higher than any place else in the Commonwealth. So we are a growing community with great opportunities, and we encourage you to come out and visit or call me to find out how you can get connected into Loudoun. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. So, yeah, that was a very round of applause. That was fantastic. All right, moving down the line, we're going to go down to the other side of the river. We're going to leap over into Montgomery County and hear from Judy Stevenson.
Okay. Let's see if we've got a second. There we go. So, much like Loudoun County and the other people that you'll hear from today, Montgomery County has a very bedrock belief in our small business community. 96% of our businesses have 50 or fewer employees. So that translates to about 33,000 small businesses. And I think that the county executive and the county council have a really good idea about how important small businesses are. And as a result, my position was actually created. Probably about 4 years ago, it was created by the county council by legislation. And my whole focus, it's a great job. Really. My whole focus is small businesses in Montgomery County, and I'm just there specifically to help the small business community. All day, every day, I meet with small businesses and provide them with the information they need to grow and succeed in the county. So these are some of the things that I work on a regular basis. We talked about permitting earlier. That tends to be a big issue with small businesses, especially sign permitting. So I am there to advocate. If they have a snag, if they hit a question that they can't get answered, they're not getting the responses they need, I can actually advocate on their behalf within the county. So I also work with procurement, so that would be in terms of how do I get a contract with the county. Unfortunately, I don't give contracts out, but I can help businesses understand how to position themselves, what resources are available. There's a lot of information out there to help them understand what the county buys and how they can actually position themselves and use that information to improve their chances of getting a county contract or subcontracting on a contract with a prime. I work with the health department, I work with liquor control. We have regional services centers that are very integrated into the community, and they refer people to me all the time. So I'm really there just as a resource for the small business community and just to help them in any way they interact with the county. So some of the things that we have for small businesses, we have a mentorship program that's run by the county, connects small businesses with mentors to help them grow. Could be SCORE counselors, it could be other businesses in the community that have grown and succeeded. We have 4 business innovation centers in the county. Those are places that provide a launch pad, if you will, for small businesses, wraps them with programming, resources, help, assistance, legal, other types of things. We also partner with a 5th innovation center, which is Bethesda Green, which is a public-private partnership. Okay. The Department of Economic Development hosts an EBusiness Calendar, which actually is kind of a unique tool. The resources in the county that provide events or other types of maybe training or networking events can post their own events on our calendar. They manage that information themselves. We do take a quick look to make sure it's not like a sales opportunity. We want it to be informational, but other than that, there's lots of different types of events that get posted there. It's also only forward-looking, so it never has outdated information on it, which is kind of interesting. So that has a lot of great information for people. We also, let's see, our service providers provide information. It's just a great resource. Anybody can actually use it. And we don't limit it to activities that are inside the county. Other people can post there as well. The idea is things that just are of value to our business community. We want it to be there. So here are some financing programs. I won't go through all of them, but we do have a small business revolving loan program. We look at smaller businesses that are growing, that are maybe getting contracts and just need some cash flow type of financing to help them grow. We also have a unique program in the county called Small Business Plus, which is with our community banks. The county actually deposits money in those community banks, and they commit to loaning twice that amount out to the small business community. It's been a very successful program. We have a new program. Hopefully there's some information about that, but if not, you can just go to our website. It's called the MOVE program. It's a direct subsidy to the company that opens a new or leases new space in the county. They can't have leased space before, so it's new space. It's Class A or Class B space, but it's $8 a square foot up to 10,000 square feet, and it's a check directly to the company. So it has to be a 3-year lease. There's some requirements. It applies to any industry except for retail and restaurants. So that's a really good program for people. And it could also apply to people moving out of home-based businesses into leased space for the first time. So here are some results. The MOVE program's been very successful. It's been a little over a year that it's been in effect, so almost $700,000 in grants awarded, and that, like I said, that's a check to the business. We've helped 30 companies. We've leased more than 100,000 square feet of space, more than 150 jobs created through that program. And the companies have ranged from all different types of companies, from technology companies to nonprofits to just any kind of company that's moving into that particular type of space. So that's been a really good program, very well received. So again, that's the specifics of it. You can see more of that on our website. So here's some procurement programs. We have 2 in particular that are of interest to the small business community. One is our local small business reserve program, which actually sets certain contracts aside only for local small businesses to compete on, levels the playing field and opens opportunities for our local small business community. We also have a minority female disabled owned program, which is more of a subcontracting program, although we just passed legislation that expands this program and adds some preference points to companies that are actually responding directly to an opportunity. So it actually adds some preference points for the minority and female-owned business community. So those are for contracts with Montgomery County. Here are some contracting resources. Our procurement website has a lot of information that's helpful for businesses researching what we buy. All of our contracts are searchable, so you can see who has the contract, who's the prime contractor. especially for minority-owned businesses. That could be an opportunity to go offer subcontracting to help that company meet their goals for utilization of minority or female-owned companies. We also have an interesting website called Data Montgomery. If you're a Montgomery County resident or business, you should know about Data Montgomery. There's a lot of information there for the county, about the county. It's lots of things. It could be 311 calls, it could be restaurants closed down by the health department, it could be, calls to 911, all kinds of information. But one of the data sets is county contracts. And the value of Data Montgomery is that information is a more consumable format. You can search, you can filter, you can export, then you have that information for tracking purposes. So that's a really good, it's all about government transparency, and that's a great database. So if you're a Montgomery County company, you should be registered as a vendor with us. Even if you're not a Montgomery County company, anybody who wants to do business with Montgomery County needs to register in our vendor database. This is a great resource not only for county departments to find you, but also for you to find each other. So there's a lot of information in here about service providers or products that people have to offer. If you're looking for a partner or you're looking for a prime contractor, or if you're a business and you're looking for a plumber and you want to use somebody local, there's a lot of great information in that database. And then Montgomery County companies should self-certify as a small business so that we know that you're a local small business. And that if you have any other certifications, those should be uploaded as well. So additional resources, we have a lot of information on our website that could be helpful, large employers, just different types of information that would be helpful to people. Our Department of Permitting Services in the past year created a guide to opening a restaurant in the county, which pulls together all of the information you might need for that, which is also a great resource. It's a little daunting, I will say, but it's information you need. We are right now in the process of restructuring economic development in Montgomery County. We are privatizing the department. So it's currently a county department that will be dissolved. A new 501c3 organization will be stood up in its place. There's a lot of objectives to that. The county executive has really got to focus on economic development in the county right now. He wants more private sector involvement in the decision making and the marketing. We want to be more nimble with private leadership. It's easier to change direction, to incorporate changes as need be. County government tends to be a little slower. I was at a meeting earlier today that somebody said, we tend to work at different speeds. So this is a way to try to speed that up for economic development. And then also to improve operational efficiency. Sometimes, again, getting things through county government can take some time. So if it's a private organization, that should speed up operational decision making. So here's the benefits. So basically, the idea is that this will be implemented by spring. So the hope is that the new EDO will be up and running by the end of April. It's possible that might slide a little. Still county involvement at this point, right? But that's the objective. And if there's any questions or anybody, I am available to the small business community, so anybody in Montgomery County that needs help, I'm there. If there's somebody from another county who might be interested in moving to Montgomery County, I'm there as well.
Judy, thank you very much. How many folks here started their own business or were actually a founder of their business? So, I can tell you, I should add to my bio, before I was a state legislator, I'm a small business owner myself. I have a real estate title company here in Virginia. We started about 8 years ago, and I could have used a small business navigator because I went to the State Corporation Commission for one set of documents, and then I went to the county to do a DBA, and then I went to the Bureau of Insurance because we sell a line of title insurance, and we thought we had everything done. We had our first customer coming in for their first closing at 4 in the afternoon, and I'm waiting for my last license to be stamped off by the Bureau of Insurance, and it hasn't come yet. So I ended up driving from my office in McLean to Richmond, and I said, okay, I have to sit in their lobby until I get it, because I can't have the first story about our new business being that our first clients came and couldn't buy their house and couldn't move in because we didn't have that last piece of paper that we needed. So And I noticed in the last several years, that's been a point of emphasis in a lot of localities, is, hey, stop making the entrepreneur go around to 4, 5, 6
Right.
different places. Let's put all those places in one spot and let's make it a lot easier
Right.
for small business owners. So with that, let's move on to Prince William County. Hopefully I gave him enough time to change up the presentation. And let's talk about George. Hear from George and talk about Prince William. That's what we'll do.
First of all, thank y'all for having me. This is my second year here, and I come for one reason only. Those are the best brownies I think I've had in this region. Second, I commend anybody that starts a small business, and I think that takes a lot of courage. And you know, it's not easy. There's an awful lot to it. Now, what I want to talk about are two parts. Number one, the resources in Prince William County that are there for you, because one of the questions I get is what is out there to help me in a variety of ways. And the second one are the incentives from the county, from the state, and from the federal. And incentives is probably a stronger word than it should be. It's really more like programs that are out there. So you get to sit through a 45-page PowerPoint. Hope you enjoy it. Actually, it's not going to be that long. This is, oh great, thank you. This is mainly designed to be a resource, so I hope they give it to you. This is us, Prince William County. What you see is some things we do for local businesses is we maintain a comprehensive list of sites and buildings. So you don't have to go call every realtor out there. You can look at it for yourself. In some cases, we will help you find that so you don't have to talk to the realtor. We'll be the go-between, but at some point you're going to have to do that. We do a searchable demographic database. This is not well known in the county. This is something that some businesses have paid $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for. I give it to you for nothing. So if you pick a location and you say, I want to know what's around that area in demographics in terms of a 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile, you plug it in and you're going to get a comprehensive demographic report. By the way, it doesn't do any place else, just Prince William County. While I'm on that, I think we should commend Loudoun County. You know, 70% of the internet traffic goes through them. Now that also means if you're having internet issues, there's a 70% chance it's Loudoun County's fault.
Well played.
We maintain an online, well, forget that one. And we, most importantly that we do is we publish a comprehensive guide to establishing a business, and it covers all those topics: financing, procurement, exporting, permitting, labor, all those things in one document with links. And that's important to that is because we tried to do the thing that a lot of others do. Where do you go to get this information? We also, forget all that. Let's go to finance though, the second one. That's procurement. I love the way she said, you know, you need to register with the county to do business. I'm from the Southwest, so I'm going to put this in terms from a Southwestern or a Texan. This is George Harvin speaking, not the county. If you are not registered with our county to do business, you do not exist. We will never go look for you. So it's in your best interest to be registered with the county and the school district if you decide you want to try to do business with them. Okay? That's an important point in all this. And you can see we're trying to get the word out about what we're doing. Procurement, we're getting out there talking to other organizations, to their membership, and we think that's important because we want more business sourced locally. But we have to know that you're there. One of the assistances that we offer here is called the Flory Business Center. This is our version of, we contract with them, and what they do is they help small businesses in Prince William County, Manassas and Manassas Park. And they do business plans, financing, all that stuff. That is who we use to do that. I don't do that myself. That's what they work on doing that. The chamber, okay, I'm going to whip through this because I'm more interested in what your questions are than you finding out than what this is, because you'll have all this at the end with links. That one is important. That just started up, the Prince William County Minority Business Network. They had their first annual meeting, and their goal is to focus on how can we help get more business opportunities to the minority-owned businesses in the county. There's another part to that that'll come up in a little bit. The Skill Source Center, they help you find employees. This one, the Virginia Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity. If you're a minority-owned business, a woman-owned business, that's where you go to register. Okay? That's important for state contracts. You go there, you register, you go through the process, and they have a searchable database. So if a company, a contractor, or someone's interested in doing business with a minority-owned business,
they can go there and they'll find you if you're registered. USSBA, y'all know, I think y'all heard about that earlier actually. Incentives. The overview, our incentives, the Commonwealth, and then the federal. We have an opportunity fund. I'm going to be honest with you, we use it once a year, and it is for larger businesses. It's to help offset some infrastructure costs, perhaps, other things like that. It's not a defined incentive like that. It's really there to help businesses with issues and needs that they have. But you have to employ a lot of people, and you have to have significant payroll. As you can see the requirements, we will have an MOU, it's a memorandum of understanding. There's a match that's required on y'all's, on the company's part, and there will be a public announcement because you are now taking county dollars and we have to account to the public for what that's for. Oh yeah, okay. One of the biggest gripes I hear as existing business is the B-poll tax. They hate it. It stands for the Business Professional Occupation License Tax. It's a tax on gross receipts for non-manufacturers. What we've tried to do is to keep raising the threshold for small businesses. So now we're at $250,000. You have to file one, but if you are a small business and your revenues are less, gross receipts are less than $250,000, you will not be paying a tax. Now these are state incentives, and I'm going to kind of, as you can see, you'll get a feel for what they are. The most important point on this one, on the Virginia Tax Credit Program, you have to meet a 50-job threshold. And let me make this clear. It is not the first 50 jobs. It is every job over 50. So if you hire 52 people, you're going to get credit for 2 jobs. Right? Not 52, 2 jobs. The Governor's Opportunity Fund in Prince William County, that's the match down there. It's a discretionary fund that the governor uses as a deal closer. These are typically for larger projects. You can see the thresholds, 50 new jobs, 5 million capital investment, or 25 and 100 million capital investment. This is the state training program. It's a really good program. This provides funding to help you train your employees. You can see the thresholds down there. They do have one for a small business, the $9.79 per hour. I think that's statewide, but that also applies in Prince William County. And that's the new jobs for small businesses. 5 full-time jobs, 12 months, capital investment of $100,000. I mean, so if you're if you're fitting an office and buying furniture, that's what that would count for, and $9.79 an hour. The workforce retraining program, you're trying to retrain your employees, upskill them. We all go through that. That's becoming more and more important today. You go through there, retaining 10 employees or 5 full-time, less than 250 employees. They're going to help you with that. There's some other criteria too. Hub zones. We have 3 in Prince William County. They're designed there so businesses, for contracting purposes, it's a federal program, and it works quite well. I just had a business right now who's in one. He's in a part of a $1 billion cyber contract. He's in the hub zone, and they're going to work with him, A, because he's really good, but B, because he's in a hub zone. That is my full contact information. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me.
All right, George, way to roll through it. I appreciate that. That was great. I appreciate that energetic presentation. One other thing, as long as we're still talking about Virginia before we switch, while we're switching up the presentations, Virginia also has a small business finance authority, so where it's something you want to ask your bankers about. It's not the Commonwealth itself giving loans, but we've got an authority that issues bonds that will allow small businesses to access additional capital, or some hard to loan to businesses. If you wouldn't otherwise qualify, your banker will know about how they can leverage the Virginia Small Business Finance Authority loans and align there to help with some non-collateralized loans or to provide collateral and guarantees and things like that. So one other thing to think about in Virginia.
And the delegate is absolutely correct on that. Consider it a state parallel to the SBA finance program. That's really what it is. It's a very good program. The other one that I did not mention but probably should have was the Virginia Community Capital. That is like a community bank. They may finance things that are in the, that are on the bubble or certain type of industries that create jobs, but understand if your business is not financeable, they're not going to finance you.
All right, with that, we're going to go back across the river to Maryland, and we're going to hear from Les Hall, the program manager at the Maryland Department of Commerce. Les.
Thank you very much. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, very good. First of all, let me thank the organizing committee for inviting us. We appreciate greatly the opportunity to come to Northern Virginia and share with you and our colleagues some of the resources that we have for businesses pretty much of all sizes in the state of Maryland. Let me say, just to minimize confusion, up to this point, up to today in fact, we have been known as the Department of Business and Economic Development in the state of Maryland. And we have been the primary focal point for Maryland's effort to promote the growth and success of businesses in our state. Today is the first day in the lifeline of the department as the Department of Commerce. So we're in process of being reinvented, and our name is brand new. So today we're the Department of Commerce. So you may see some references to the Department of Business, Economic Development. I'm a program manager within the Office of Financing Programs within the department. I spend my days actually evaluating business plans and project proposals for funding consideration. We manage a variety of financing resources designed to assist businesses pretty much in all stages of their lifeline, from very small and startup operations to large national and corporate or international operations. Our financing assistance typically takes the form of loans, loan guarantees, investments, and in some unique circumstances, performance-based grants. And of course, the broader objective of our efforts is to grow the commercial and industrial tax base in the state, to encourage maximum private capital investment in the state, and of course to create and retain jobs for all of our citizens, the best jobs that we can reasonably facilitate. We work very closely with businesses on a direct and individual basis. And we work very closely with our economic development partners in the state, including both counties and municipalities and other private stakeholders to facilitate economic development and business growth throughout the state. Now, when we talk about small businesses, here again, that includes for us a very broad spectrum of operations. I could, on any given day, work closely with a small 1 or 2 person operation, and then in the same day be involved with an entity that has many employees, 50, 100, whatever the case may be, in an effort to help them with whatever project they're trying to capitalize. And loans, loan guarantees, usually intended to fill a gap in a capitalization structure. And that is to say that, if the business does not have enough capital to implement their project, and after close review, it's determined to be a viable project with good potential for progress, then we can step in and fill that gap, if you will. Now, okay. Okay. Most of our programs fit into 4 distinct groups. You know, what we call, or often refer to as life cycle assistance. We have our capital investment group, which entails assistance to innovative technologies, biotechnology, software, advanced materials, what have you, with early stage capital and capital for more mature technology companies. We have our incentives, which tend to focus on larger corporate development opportunities, where companies may be coming to the state for the first time, or large corporate entities are expanding in the state and creating significant numbers of jobs, or retaining significant numbers of jobs, or consuming significant levels of new or additional square footage for their operations throughout the state. We have our guarantees and credit enhancements, which are targeted primarily to private financial institutions and seek to encourage a bank to step into a transaction that they might otherwise not. For example, and by credit enhancement, what we primarily mean are loan guarantees. If a bank is looking at your project and they think that it has decent upside potential, they think that it's a viable business model, but you may not have quite the level of collateral that they would like. There may be some degree of cash flow uncertainty. They can come to us for a loan guarantee to help mitigate whatever deficiency they may see in the business model. We have a couple of different loan guarantee programs, and I'll show you those on a couple of the additional slides. But guarantees, once again, serve as a way to induce the bank to lend to you and to support your project. The small business category. Actually, we only have one program listed there, but there are several. And what I'd like to do as well is call your attention to this piece of literature that was placed on your table a short while ago, where the programs that are on this presentation are listed. And in fact, the small business program that's shown here, the Maryland Small Business Development Financing Authority, is but one of a group of programs targeted to small businesses that, as a general rule, have annual revenues of $10 million or less, have total employees of 100 or fewer, but as a practical matter, these small business programs are most active with businesses that have $5 million and less in sales. In some cases, $2 million and less in sales, and 50 or fewer employees. In fact, 50 employees in today's environment is considered to be quite a number of employees. So we can go very small, if you will, in terms of the scale of business that we're able to assist. We can go very small in terms of the level of assistance that we're able to provide. It's not uncommon for us to with one or more of these small business loan programs make loans in the range of 50,000 to 200,000, depending upon what the need might be. Okay. Once again, and I'm going to touch upon these briefly. Investment Financing Group focuses upon technological innovation, compelling or unique technological innovation, as opposed to off-the-shelf types of ideas. It can provide investment, i.e. actually taking an ownership position in the company in relatively small amounts, $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 over defined periods of time. They don't intend to maintain a position over the life of the company. They intend to step in, help with the commercialization effort, and then get out so that you're able to continue to grow and develop without our assistance. Let's see. Okay. In the interest of time, okay, here we are. All right. Maryland Small Business Development Financing Authority, once again. Program has been around for many years. It is targeted primarily to businesses that may be owned by entrepreneurs from socially or economically disadvantaged backgrounds, and businesses, small businesses that are not able to meet the criteria of private financial institutions. This one includes a contract financing vehicle, i.e. if you are engaged in the provision of products or services to an instrumentality of government, be it local, state, or federal, this program can provide financing to help you with mobilizing that contract, working capital to perform on a contract. Under this umbrella, there is a guarantee fund as well that can provide a guarantee to a financial institution up to 80% of the amount borrowed, with a maximum of $2 million. There is a surety bond component. Very often in the case of government contracts, and sometimes in the case of private contracts as well, there's a need for bid, payment, or performance bonds, which this program can provide. And in fact, it's one of the few, if not the only, public entity that can provide a direct surety bond to support a contract. There is an equity participation in investment program. I typically describe this as patient capital. It is usually a loan with very flexible terms, which deviates from what you would find in borrowing from a commercial bank. Patient capital for purposes of startup or expansion of a business opportunity. Okay. Maryland Industrial Development Financing Authority, once again, a very long-standing program, is a source of guarantees Now, I will say to you that this program typically targets relatively large commercial and industrial development projects. It also has a capacity to issue tax-exempt and taxable bonds. So projects tend to be very large, many, many millions of dollars. And once again, focus on projects which create significant jobs in a single project. Okay, almost done, guy. Okay, and finally, let me say the Maryland Economic Development Assistance Authority and Fund. This is what we call our workhorse program. It's probably our most active resource in state government. It can do a lot of things, and it can it can do a lot of things, and it can assist businesses pretty much of all sizes. However, here again, the tendency is to target this towards relatively large corporate endeavors. It can also assist local governments and partner with them, actually convey funds to local governments for the purpose of facilitating economic development projects. It helps local governments build capacity by supporting local revolving loan funds. And it has some very unique features. Our brownfields capability, our child care financing capability are as well under this particular program category. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up there.
All right.
And if you have questions, please feel free.
Yeah, so now actually is the time to get into some questions. We started a little bit late, but we'll take a few questions here, and then they got to use this room for dinner. I know we're all hungry, so we don't want to slow down our dinner too much. So, but if there are a couple questions, we'll take a few people for any of our panelists, or if you prefer to just mingle with us. We have a question there. Yes, sir.
Representative. Seems that state of Virginia seems to cater most of their programs to small businesses, but most of what I heard was Maryland is for large businesses, and they're saying that 85% of their growth is from small business. What incentives are you giving to the small businesses to enable the small business to grow? Because one of the things that I heard was most of the things were catered to the large businesses of bigger 200 million, whatever. Sure. What specific incentive do you have for the small businesses to grow in now state of Maryland?
Gotcha. Sure. Actually, most of our programs are targeted to small businesses. What you heard me say was that there are two categories or two programs, if you will. MIDFA, Maryland Industrial Development Financing Authority, and MEDAF, and please pardon the acronyms, Maryland Economic Development Assistance Authority and Fund, which tend to target large businesses. However, the Maryland Small Business Development Financing Authority, which is shown here, the Maryland Economic Adjustment Fund, which is shown here, target small business initiatives, and our Maryland Venture Fund, in fact, targets technological innovation, which tends to be small, particularly in the startup phase and the early stage phase, perhaps within the first 3 to 5 years of the lifeline. Now, let me say as well, a relatively new product innovation in the state of Maryland that you all probably have heard about. You're aware that in the last several years, the state of Maryland, I'll be brief, state of Maryland has began to see the growth of and the establishment of casinos in our state. The revenues derived from the operations of the casinos, a significant concentration of it, is being reserved for loans to small businesses. The video lottery terminal program, which is not reflected here, is an innovation of the state of Maryland, wherein the state awards a certain percentage of those VLT funds to private fund managers who in turn make loans to small businesses in the state. So in fact, most of our resources are targeted to small businesses in the state of Maryland, and there are only 2 or 3 programmatic categories that specifically target larger corporate entities.
Very good. Anybody else have a quick question? If not, we'll be here, we'll mingle and so forth. But we have one last piece of business that we need to take care of. Do we? Before we adjourn?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys very much. We're all set.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. At 6:45, our gala dinner will start. Thank you again for attending our workshops. And we have our board member who will present the gifts to our panelists as a token of our appreciation. Thank you. And we'll see everyone at 6:45. Enjoy the networking reception in the meantime in the hallway.
Well, thank you so much. Great job.
Thank you. Hey, it was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thanks for the positive words on Virginia there.
Hey, it's my job. I restrained myself from telling this guy just to make a drink. Maybe that wouldn't be very, thoughtful.